All right, so it's Companion Botanicals. It's Bridget Conry once again. Bridget, thank you for your time as always.
Oh, you're welcome.
And so we've been talking for a while now. I have a conifer in the corner. You just looked at it, and we're not going to necessarily, no one else needs to see. You're
No,
debating whether it was a conifer or a what?
a sedum.
But the point is that through our conversations, I have been infusing, if you will, uh, plants, botanicals into my day to day,
Excellent.
one at a time. And so that's a step, right?
Yeah,
That's a first step.
that's an important first step when you're doing self-study.
There
You,
we go.
you need to take them in one at a time to understand how they work in your body.
Okay.
Exactly. Good. You're on
All
a good
right.
path.
Check the box,
Yes.
which brings us to, I guess, formulations.
Yes.
All right.
And, moving into that, the traditional herbal systems, we do work with formula more than we work with simples. And so, as I said, if you are working in self-study and learning about plants on your own, you do want to start with a plant and take it in, have the whole organoleptic experience, the sense experience with that plant so that you know how it tastes, how it smells, how it feels, all of those things, to understand if it's right for you. And then once you have that understanding about different plants, you can start putting them together. So if you're not doing self-study, if you are going to an herbalist or a naturopath or a shaman, they are going to do a full consultation with you and understand your constitution, the environment that you live in, and they are going to prescribe formulas. Rarely do you start off with a practitioner who uses herbs in their practice and they say, okay, nettles, that's what we're going to do for you.
Right.
And in the dispensary, I mean, this is where we're trying to compare to what the cannabis experience is that people are coming to the dispensary and we're just dealing with one plant generally. And granted, there are lots of versions of the plant that have different effects, but we want to open people up to the idea that cannabis is not alone and it's great for some things, but other plants might be better. And adding other plants into formula with cannabis might help you actually reduce the amount of cannabis that you need or just improve the overall experience for you.
And
So,
yeah, to remind folks, companion botanicals, they are the companion to you. It's not anything else here. We're talking about you, the person, right? The
yeah,
human.
and to each other.
Yeah.
I think that's why I like the term, is because it's they work well together, the herbs, and then you find the ones that work well with your body. So,
And I cut you off, though. You were on your way to another different point.
well, we were just going to kind of start to talk about, what does herbal formulation look like, and how herbalists put formulas together, and then try to see how we might put cannabis through that lens.
Let's do it. All
So,
right.
so generally with herbal formulas, you're building like this pyramid, and so you've got your primary acting herbs, which really are going to go towards the root of the imbalance.
If I want help with sleep, we're talking, that's the top of the pyramid. We're going right
Yeah.
to.
We're going to go there and we're going to look at that primary condition and the specific herbs that are going to treat that organ system or whatever it is that is going to help address your symptoms. And generally that's like 78 to 80% of the formula. The second part, and that can be 1 to 3 herbs, it doesn't just have to be one. The second part fulfills really kind of like this supporting role where it's nourishing to your body. There might be things like buffers in there. So it's a supporting role to make sure that your body is in a good place to be receiving the primary herbs.
Kind of like a binding agent if I'm cooking.
Yeah, or a harmonizer and something that nourishes you and sustains you. And then the third part generally is the activator or a stimulant, something that kind of like is the catalyst to like, boop, get the whole thing going in your system. And these are simple terms. Obviously, we're not going into this in detail because we only got 10 minutes. But
Sure, right. But give us an example of, kind of the A, B, and C there, on a condition, whether it's sleeplessness or not, just so we understand.
Yeah. So we actually take a different step first and then we're going to get there and we can kind of end on like insomnia and how we would put cannabis in with other herbs?
I feel I like your way, way, way better.
Cool.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of like classic herbal formulas out there right now that are go-tos for people. And that's one of the things that I started to do at the dispensary was put cannabis into those classic formulas because we know that they work. And oftentimes they come in pairs, sometimes they come in triplets. Some examples of some classic duets would be like chamomile and peppermint, which are really settling to the digestive system for upset stomach. You've got like golden seal and myrrh, which are awesome for oral health, for dealing with abscess or cavities or gingivitis, any of those things. You might use valerian and hops, which are both hypnotics, which are great for helping induce sleep. They're both very sedative. So those are some examples of some duets. And then there's also some triplets like Trikatu, which is a common Ayurvedic. That's black pepper, long pepper, and ginger. And that is something that really helps your overall metabolism to help you digest and absorb things that you're putting into your system. Coriander, cumin, and fennel is another trio that's used for digestive complaint. They're carminatives. They help expel and settle gas in the digestive system. So we have these classic combinations, and we can put cannabis into those. And so an example of how we might do that, if we were treating somebody who has insomnia, say, which is something that we see at the dispensary a lot. Generally, a condition like that has multiple factors that are contributing to why someone can't sleep. And it could be that they can't fall asleep or they can't stay asleep. Maybe it's both. And so you have to really look at the person and understand what's going on. Is it their nervous system because they have anxiety and they can't quiet their mind? Is it pain that's preventing them from falling asleep or staying asleep? Is it muscle spasms, restless leg symptom, or MS or seizure syndromes? Is it stagnation in the liver, which can cause all kinds of problems that disrupt proper hormonal distribution in the body that might keep somebody awake? So we would look at that and say, okay, what do we need? We need nervines, we need analgesics, we need antispasmodics, we might need some liver tonics in there. And so if we decided to pick a person who was having trouble falling asleep and staying asleep because of pain and spasms, say, we could look to somebody using nettles and oat straw, which are a classic combination as nerve tonics. And as nerve tonics, they nourish the nervous system that over time, as a general tonic, will allow for good sleep hygiene and rhythms of sleep. So you could start to take that as a strong infusion on a daily basis. That's just part of your daily protocol. You're going to have a strong tea of nettles and oat straw. At nighttime, as we're getting close to when you want to go to sleep, you could put in having some sort of nice, gentle sedative tea that could be like lavender, lemon balm, and lime blossom. It's something that's just routine too, that's really good to get your routine to go into bed. It's not just what you take in, but it's like dimming the lights, putting quiet music on, not having screen time, having a nice, gentle, sedative tea. You could also actually use that same formula and make a bath tea out of it and do a soak in the bath, which is also going to help with muscle relaxation and calming to get you ready to go to bed. You could do an herbal smoking blend, and in that herbal smoking blend, you can include cannabis, because we all know that cannabis helps people fall asleep. But you could add other things in there like damiana, catnip, rose, skullcap, and do a nice herbal smoking blend. If we were to look at analgesics, again, cannabis is a great analgesic, especially higher THC or certain combinations of CBD and THC. We could add Jamaican dogwood, we could add valerian, antispasmodics, valerian again, or cannabis with CBD. So you could just start looking at all these different herbs, and I think it's really important to take them in at multiple levels. It's just not like, hey, like if you walked in the dispensary and somebody would say, I'm having trouble sleeping, what you're going to get most likely is somebody say, oh, I have these indicas, that are really heavy hitters and they should really help put you to sleep. Right. And if you have trouble staying asleep, then maybe take an edible, because edibles have a longer duration of effect. And if pain's waking you up, that might work for you. So that's really what you get in the dispensary. And so what we're trying to pull people back towards is like, hey, let's do all these other things, and let's hit it with multiple actions. Get it in your diet, get it in a tea, get it in as a whatever it is, but multiple ways and multiple herbs in formula.
It seems like, well, number one, no one herb should be doing the heavy lifting on anything. Number two is, this is a long-term process, and a process where you get to know your own body with maybe some help, as you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
It's all about taking this almost quietly and softly, as opposed to, oh, give me the, give me this one strain because I know that's going to work, and then all I got to do is smoke it, or maybe even take it sublingually, and then I'm done. I'll definitely be asleep.
Yeah.
It's way more than just that.
Yes. And so, like, if you are taking a nerve tonic combination like nettles and oat straw every day, I mean, you could do this for like 6 months, before you really start to see the effect. Could be 3 months, could be a month, could be a couple weeks, but it's not going to hurt you either. That's the other thing. I mean, having a tea like that, which is gentle and nourishing and full of all kinds of vitamins and minerals, it's only helping you on so many levels. And so if you're doing that as part of your routine, you might not need cannabis as much to help you go to sleep, because you're developing this different ritual and rhythm in your body to help with that issue.
I don't know if we've used the term to talk about what we're talking about, but this essentially could be called whole plant medicine. This thing that we do here,
Yes.
could be called whole plant medicine. We talk about whole plant medicine because we don't want to just take out one cannabinoid or even a few. We want to use the whole plant. But we're talking about whole plants medicine, right? Let alone whole plant medicine. And so we'll leave it here, but this is in complete contrast to what other folks are talking about, which is literally extricating just one cannabinoid to make, and then putting that into a pill, and that is what will cure your insomnia. This is the diametric opposite of how to look at this issue.
Yeah. And I like to call it, and I know what you're saying with that whole plant medicine. I like to call it the complete herbal apothecary. It's welcoming cannabis back into the complete herbal apothecary. And generally in the complete herbal apothecary, we're dealing with whole plant medicine. So
there you go. And then, so this is how we do it, right? I come from my complete ignorance. Then I take a couple steps forward towards where you are, and then you bring me to where I should be. That's, there you go.
Or can be. Let's take the shoulds out. It's a little bit judgmental.
Well, I shouldn't should all. I should not should have. No one should all over themselves. Exactly. Let's could and not should.
Yes.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Bridget, it's always enlightening. So I really appreciate your time on these, and I can't wait for the next one.
Excellent. Me too.